In this video, we'll talk about how to use the IF function in order to calculate student grades and give a report on their status. First thing I'd like to do, in the original spreadsheet Joe had a 0 on the third assignment. I'd like to change that to a 6 so that Joe's total grade is a 70%. Now, let's go to column B. I'm going to insert 2 columns because I want to make room for columns right next to the student names that'll tell me the student's percentage grade and the student's status, whether the student is going to pass or have to retry the assignments. I'm going to make my columns a little narrower, make things fit. There we go. Now, on percentage, we already calculated that, as you may recall from a previous video, over here in the total assignment column, out at the end. But if I want to print this off for the dean or the principal or whoever, it'd be nice to maybe just print this range here instead of all the details about the individual assignments. The dean may not need all the assignments, they just need the final grade. So, I'm going to bring that data over. I want to see whatever's in cell H3 come over to cell B3. And I can do the same thing here. I can go cell H4, that's going to move to B4 now. But of course, I don't want to type the same thing in every row, so instead, let's just use a fill down. And to make things neater, if this is a final report, I probably don't need all those decimal points. I'll go to the format area, the number area, change that to 77%, and make my column a little narrower. Cool. Now, here's the tricky part. I want status. I can look at these numbers, and let's say I have a rule that says students will pass if they get a 70% or better. And we'll make that smaller so that all fits in the cell. 70% or better, and you pass. Below that, you have to retry. Okay, now I could go through each row and say, okay, 77, that's a pass. 77, that's another pass. 57, that's a retry, etc. But again, that's a lot of typing. And if I type that there, suppose something happens. Suppose Kat did come in, Kat retook that assignment, redid that assignment, and got the grade up to a 35. Oh, and that was enough to get Kat's grade up to a 72%. But since I just typed retry here, it won't change. I still have to go back manually and fix that. And I might forget to do that. And so Kat would be sitting there stuck. She's got her 72%, but this still says retry. Messes things up. That's bad. So, I would rather have a formula that would automatically read what the grade is and then tell me whether it's pass or retry. That's where the if statement comes in. One of the most powerful things you can do in Excel and in any programming language, a conditional if statement. The if statement has 3 arguments. The first thing you type is the condition that you want to test. In this case, I want to test whether the grade is higher than a 70. So let's see, that would be cell B3. Is it greater than 70? Okay, that'll be what I'm going to test. Now, the value if true, before I get excited, I might have left something out there. Better not put 70. If I put 70, things will go wrong. Well, actually, let me leave 70. Let me show you what's going to happen there in a bit. Let me go through the arguments. First, the logical test. Then, the value if true. What do I want to have happen if the grade is bigger than 70? Well, if it's bigger than 70, I want Excel to put pass in that cell. Write the word pass. And so if I just want a word, a string, I have to put that in double quote marks. Now if the grade is less than 70, I want to say retry. I don't want to say fail. That might hurt someone's feelings. We'll just put retry, please. So, retry. Let's see what happens. Oh, it says retry. But Ali's grade is higher than 70. What gives? That's what I was playing with there. Remember I set that up? I put 70. But 77%, remember, is actually 0.77. So it thinks, 0.77, it's a tiny number. Sure, that's less than 70. And so it gives me retry. Oops. So I've got to be careful with my data. I've either got to put 0.7 there, or I can just put the percent, 70%. And now, hey, look at that. Ali got a 77%. Formula says pass. Good deal. Now, of course, the real magic, where we can fill down. I always do it with Control D. Let's do it with the mouse. Fill down. Woohoo! Look at that. Formula in every cell. It goes down. It refers to B10. Boy, I saved a bunch of typing. I love that. Now, let's make sure this is working. Yep, those 2 are retries. That's below 70. That's a retry. Oh, wait a minute. Joe got a 70. Joe's like, hey, I got a 70. You said if I get 70% or better, I don't have to do it. But your computer's saying I got to do it. What gives? I probably goofed up the formula. Let's take a look. If B12 is greater than 70%, oh, I have to include the 70. It's not just greater than 70. It's greater than or equal to 70. There we go. There's Joe's pass. Now, of course, if I've done that in one formula, I should do it in all of them. So let's put the equals there, up at the top one. Let's fill down. There. And now we've got an if formula that will calculate the correct grade status for every student in the gradebook. And again, the joy of a formula is, let's look at these retries now. So these students, Flo gets a 67%. She's like, oh, I've got to redo an assignment. Okay, no problem. So Flo, good overachiever, she comes in. She takes assignment 1. She got a 25 on that. She redoes it, and she just smokes on that one. She gets a 45. All I do is enter her new grade in that slot and look at everything else that changes. Pow! Her grade changed over here in the formula, the grade changed here in column B, and her grade went from retry, I'll undo that, she had a retry, and now it goes to pass. Good job, Flo, and good job, spreadsheet. Formulas like the if formula can save you a whole lot of work. Remember, the basics of an if formula, 3 arguments. The condition that you want to test, the value that you want to get, the thing you want to have happen if the condition is true, and the value you want to get if the condition is false. That's the if function. Pretty cool, pretty powerful. The heart of any good spreadsheet, conditional functions. Enjoy!